The realm. Do you know what the realm is? It's the 1,000 blades of Aegon's enemies. A story we agree to tell each other over and over till we forget that it's a lie.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire update video. In this video, I want to go over all the new information revealed by George R. R. Martin on his NotABlog website. Only a few hours ago, George R. R. Martin not only confirmed the Dunk and Egg series was greenlit by HBO, but he also revealed some very interesting information about HBO's other Game of Thrones successor shows as well. I think this is one of the best updates he's given in months because it does shed a light on a lot of things the fandom has been wondering. Now let's have a look at his NotABlog website so you can see exactly what he had to say. He said, "The news is all over the internet by now. The announcement was made a few days ago at Warner Media's big event for the rollout and rebranding of their new streaming service Max, formerly known as HBO Max, which is heading your way near the end of May. I was sworn to secrecy until then, but now that the word is out, I can go ahead and confirm it. Yes, it's true. There's another successor show on its way. Dunk and Egg are coming to HBO. The working title will be A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, The Hedge Knight. Whether that will be the final title, I cannot say for sure. Beyond saying that no, it won't be called Tales of Dunk and Egg, or The Adventures of Dunk and Egg, or anything along those lines. Now, I love Dunk and Egg, and I know that fans refer to my novellas as the Dunk and Egg stories, sure, but there are millions of fans out there who do not know these stories, and the title needs to intrigue them too. If you don't know the characters, Dunk and Egg sounds like a sitcom. Something like Laverne and Shirley, Abbott and Costello, or Beavis and Butthead. So no, we want to make sure Knight is in the title. Knighthood and chivalry are central to the themes of these stories. Now aside from the title, what else can I say? Well, not a lot. HBO has given us a green light to film for a full season, not only a pilot episode. Most likely of 6 episodes, though that is not set in stone, and won't be until considerably later in the developmental phase. As most of you know, I have written and released 3 novellas about Dunk and Egg, The Hedge Knight, The Sworn Sword, and The Mystery Knight. Each of them initially released independently in various anthologies before being collected together in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Therefore, if any of you want to read all of George R. R. Martin's novellas about Dunk and Egg, all you have to do is buy or read A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms because they're all there inside. Now, the first season will be an adaptation of the first of the 3 novellas, The Hedge Knight, the story of how Dunk and Egg first met during a tournament at the Ashford Meadow. Now, the pilot episode is already written, and I think it's terrific. It was written by Ira Parker, who is no stranger to Westeros. He was actually on Ryan Condal's writing staff for the first season of House of the Dragon, and he wrote the 4th episode of House of the Dragon's first season, The King of the Narrow Sea. That's the episode where Daemon arrives back in King's Landing after conquering the Stepstones, and him and Rhaenyra go down into the back alleys of Flea Bottom. Ryan Condal is on board as well, as an executive producer, and so am I. Now, there is no set date as to when the series will release, or even for the show to begin shooting, but the writing is already well underway. Ira has assembled a small, but very talented team, and they're already at it, building on the foundations laid down last year in our other creative summits, and of course on the original novella. The Dunk and Egg novellas are fully fleshed out narratives more like the novels of A Song of Ice and Fire than the imaginary history of Fire and Blood. Those stories are right there, and our goal is to create faithful adaptations to those tales for the screen. Now this is really great news because what he means is Dunk and Egg has an actual story that's written, whereas House of the Dragon is based on footnotes of second and third hand accounts. Now if The Hedge Knight turns out as well as we hope it will, our hope would be to go on and adapt The Sworn Sword and The Mystery Knight as well. That will take a few years. Then comes the hard part. Before we reach the end of the novellas, I will need to find time to write all the other Dunk and Egg novellas that I always wanted to. And let's just say that there's more of them than I had once thought. There's The Village Hero, and The Winterfell Story. That's the one that has the she-wolves. And maybe I need to write that Dornish adventure to slip in between The Hedge Knight and The Sworn Sword. And after that, there's more. I just need to finish The Winds of Winter, and then do either A Dream of Spring, or another volume of Fire and Blood, then slip in a new Dunk and Egg between each of those in my copious spare time. And that will keep me ahead of Ira and his merry crew for a few more years. But I will worry about that tomorrow. Today, we're celebrating. Dunk and Egg are coming. Alright folks, now this is what makes me very nervous as a fan. As you can see, George R. R. Martin is saying he's not done writing the Dunk and Egg novellas, which means he doesn't have the ending. He says he hopes he's going to be able to write more of them before the Dunk and Egg show is over. What that means is, as of right now, the show will be in the same boat as Game of Thrones was when Dan and Dave first started making that series. And we all remember how that ended. George R. R. Martin still hasn't finished writing A Song of Ice and Fire. Therefore, Dan and Dave had to basically write their own ending to finish the show. Now, thankfully, the Dunk and Egg novellas are much easier to write because they're much shorter. However, George will still need to find the time to do them, while he should be finishing The Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring. All I'm saying is this might get messy, because he will eventually have to decide what he wants to finish first. For years now, he's said he doesn't want to do any other jobs before he finishes The Winds of Winter, but it doesn't sound like that's the only thing on his mind. I'm sure he doesn't want the Dunk and Egg show to run into the same issues as Game of Thrones, and I would guarantee HBO doesn't want that either. I just hope he's able to finish The Winds of Winter before he's in a spot where he has to decide to set it on the back burner because there's other shows that need him more. This is something I will definitely keep my eyes on moving forward, and as always, I will let you know what's happening behind the scenes as soon as I know myself. With that in mind, make sure you subscribe. Now let me get back to what he said on the NotABlog. He goes on to say, way back in the summer of 2016, when HBO first started thinking about the Game of Thrones spin-offs, I went to them with two ideas, The Dance of the Dragons, which in due time became House of the Dragon, and Dunk and Egg. That was 7 years ago, and I can hardly believe it myself. The lesson here is that development takes time. I see all these stories on the internet about other shows being killed or abandoned. No idea where they get this stuff, and it just makes me shake my head. The show about Nymeria is still in development, and so is the Sea Snake show. We just had a great week on that one, working with the writers, and there's others, live action and animated. By others, he means the shows about Aegon and Jon Snow. How many will get the green light like Dunk and Egg? It's hard to say. How long will it take? Well, that depends. No one knows for sure. When I was in grade school, there was a cop show that ended every week with, "There are 8 million stories in the Naked City. This has been one of them." And that was only New York City. Westeros and Essos are a lot bigger, with even more stories. We just need the time to tell them. So as you can see, he ends the NotABlog on a very hopeful note. Not only are they working on House of the Dragon and Dunk and Egg, but they're still developing the shows about Nymeria, the Sea Snake, and many, many more. Now, if you're only a fan of the shows, this is obviously amazing news, but if you only care about The Winds of Winter or A Dream of Spring, well, this might have you a little concerned. He obviously cannot focus on those as much when he's working on so many other ideas. Now, the great news is, it doesn't look like Game of Thrones is leaving our televisions anytime soon. I don't know about all of you, but I'm very excited for the future of the Game of Thrones cinematic universe. Lately, our little fandom is getting a hell of a lot more exciting. Let me know what all of you think about the new information down below. Give me your thoughts on everything. Are you worried that Dunk and Egg isn't finished? Do you think it will run into the same issues as Game of Thrones? How many of you actually think George R. R. Martin will finish The Winds of Winter? Or will HBO have him writing all this other stuff for the shows? Also, what other shows do you want to see get made next? Leave it all down below. Once again, I have to thank all of you for watching the videos. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a great day. I will see you again very soon. Bye.